Hello and welcome everyone, a new episode of Money Means Business. As usual, we do have plenty of economic files which we are going to discuss together, and we are going to start with the statements which were released by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli when he spoke about a bundle of incentives to be given by the state to the investors in all domains: industry, tourism, AI, renewable energy, you name it. And when it comes to industry, it's really part and parcel of our economic progress in general, and without developing our industries or our industrial sector, nothing can be achieved on the ground. So to give incentives to the investors to attract more foreign direct investment and to attract more investors to invade new horizons and even to invest in many domains and all over Egypt, to have industrial zones, to have new entrepreneurs, new startups, the SMEs, all this and more is in the mind of our state, and they are taking this as a kind of a priority. When it comes to what we should do more, it's to encourage more foreign direct investment. How and why, and in what segments in specific, and are we going to tackle specific or special industries which can be considered as sensitive because they are very much related to our health? Oh, this is going to be the core of our episode. But before we start, let's start with this detailed comprehensive report about the incentives, or the package of incentives which were announced by our Prime Minister, and we are going to return back with my prominent guest, dear prominent guest, live here in the studio to speak in more detail. Stay tuned only on Nile TV International, always for more. My name is Nermeen Abdurrahman.
According to a cabinet statement citing Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Egypt will be launching a new list of incentives and policies to increase investments prepared by ministries in several sectors, including industry, tourism, agriculture, and communications and information technology. The incentives will be part of a new package of facilitations and policies to reach certain goals and increase private sector investments and involvement and its contribution to the country's economy. The package will create more job opportunities and increase local production and exports, as per the new economic development narrative for the next 5 years. Madbouli noted that the new incentives will attract new capital to reach certain targets and expand certain sectors such as tourism, where the government aims to attract 30 million tourists in the upcoming years. According to Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation, Rania Al-Mashat, plans were revealed in October to raise investments in the tourism and antiquities sector by 60% to 116.2 billion Egyptian pound in the fiscal year 2025-2026. The Prime Minister affirmed that Egypt's top priority remains in the health sector, with initiatives like the Decent Life Rural Development Program, which has eased pressure on central and general hospitals. As for the energy sectors, the incentives will target increasing the share of energy produced from new and renewable sources to 42% in Egypt's energy mix. The country signed its first production license for sustainable aviation fuel earlier this month, with the goal of converting used cooking oil into aviation fuel, with an annual production capacity of up to 120,000 tons. Madbouli emphasized that more investments for the energy sector will help expand exploration and extractions to increase petroleum products and natural gas production to meet consumer needs. Another priority for the incentives will be to raise export rates in sectors with opportunities for expansions, mainly in pharmaceuticals, and expanding the number of governed rates benefiting from the universal health insurance system, according to Madbouli. Madbouli confirmed that Egypt's key economic indicators are showing positive results on the back of productive sectors, driving economic growth. The IMF mission currently in Cairo commended the progress in investments and trade reforms in a recent meeting with the Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade, Hassan al-Khatib, noting the country's economic strategy has become more consistent and transparent. Egypt has made progress in its fiscal position, achieving a surplus of 2.5% of GDP in fiscal year 2024-2025. It also reduced its overall debt to 86% of GDP. More urban planning projects are also in the pipeline through maximizing the utilization of investment opportunities in new cities and increase private sector involvement to establish urban expansions, Madbouli explained.
Welcome back. Let's start immediately. Welcome my dear guest live here in the studio, Dr. Aladin, Assal, our medical industries expert. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and a very good evening.
Thank you.
And let's start, sir, with our medical industries sector. And recently, a lot of deals, or let's say memoranda of understanding, were signed, and to have this kind, or to apply on the ground, private-public partnerships on the ground. And this is not only between Egyptian private sector companies and our concerned bodies or our Ministry of Health, but also with other foreign companies who came to invest here in Egypt. Before going into details, how do you see the importance of having these strategic partnerships between the private and public sector, and particularly in the pharmaceutical and medical industries?
Well, thank you for asking the question first. You have started and raised an issue which is of a great importance to the Egyptian economy. One of the major issues to enhance the Egyptian economy and to enhance the GDP of Egypt, of course, is medical industries.
Yeah.
This is one of the major issues that everybody is taking care of, and it has been attended by our government, of course, and our president is specifically interested in improving this, not only in Egypt, but also in Africa as a whole. So when we talk about investments and private sector and public sector as well, the alliance that has been going on in the past few weeks or few months, a lot of preparations has been going on. So there has been a sort of alliance between the Egyptian Drug Association and the Ministry of Public Sector or Public...
Let's quote what was said, sir, to build integrated domestic manufacturing chains. Let's analyze this term, and to tell our viewers how it is that important, and its implementation on the ground is going to have its positive impact not only on our local market but also to move to exports.
Well, actually, when you said so, and you said the very exact quote, which I thank you for it, of course, this is denoting a normal phenomena. We call it localization.
Yeah.
When we start alliance between a local company and an international firm, this is even called globalization, and the whole world is going into that direction. When we push for Egypt to become one of those areas or one of those countries that globalization is taking place, this sort of alliance is creating jobs, creating more economy or business opportunities. And I'm not disclosing a secret that every investor is always looking for revenues. So I'm not disclosing a secret that revenue on investment started to increase a lot in Egypt. Meaning any investor that is focusing on a country to invest, now Egypt is becoming now in the front yard where he can get one of the best revenue of investment on his investments. Medical sector has got always a prime importance, not only in Egypt but also in the whole world. If you look...
But it's very expensive, sir. Research is very expensive. And when it comes to technology transfer in this field in specific, it's even more than expensive. It's huge. I mean, to speak about that and to speak about our ambitions to really reduce our independence on the imports in 2030 for the new republic, for the new Egypt, it's that close right now. We are about 2026. Are we that realistic in that, or what's our homework?
Well, our homework has been done long time ago. It's not happening now. So when you say it's 2030, it's very close. We are talking about about 4 years to be there. But when you have a country that is really working according to a strategic planning.
Sure.
And I'm very happy to say that we are working according to a strategic plan. Strategic plan in the past few years started with phase one. What was phase one? And a lot of people, a lot of humble people were asking questions. Why Egypt is investing so huge amount
huge
of money.
sums of money in our infrastructure, for example, in roads and bridges and stuff like that. But simply as the Americans are saying, build it and they'll come.
Well, actually, we started, you cannot build a firm or a factory or a plant without having the proper infrastructure. You need to have railroads, you need to have simple roads, you need to have electricity, you need to have power.
All facilities.
All kind of infrastructures, it has to be there. And this is what has been going on in the past few years. Now, it's phase two. Phase two is industrialization. So what we are focusing, and the whole government and the whole country is focusing on...
And to have a localization roadmap.
Yes.
And this localization roadmap is not easy. And it should be amended on the way. I mean, when there is an obstacle, to eliminate this obstacle, when there are circumstances around us and globally like the pandemic, for example, like COVID and stuff like that, these are obstacles. There are some of them out of our hands, and there are others which we should have been fixed long ago. But better late than never. Tell me about your vision regarding what's taking place now on the ground, sir.
What is taking place now is everybody's working hard. The government is doing their utmost facilitating opportunities for investment. And they have signed lately a few, I wouldn't say a lot, but few packages that is giving incentives to investors in terms of facilitation of the license. There has been a claim that the red tape or bureaucracy in Egypt might cause a problem to investors because it's tagging them down and taking them a long time to get the license and to get all the permits required for their business. Now, I'm happy to announce that this is history now. It's not happening anymore. As I said, there are now a lot of packages that has been put in place that is making it too easy. Some of the licenses now you can apply through applications by phone. You don't even need to use your computer. You can use your appointment, the applications that has been installed on your
one digital window.
Yeah. So this is happening, and getting revenues. And now everyone in the government, including everybody, they know that there are a big entity in the background is watching. So everybody is on his toes. They are doing their utmost to facilitate and in the same time to ensure quality. And this is what is happening to Egypt now. But what is happening now is not happening, it's just because we thought about it now.
No, it's accumulated, of course, and we started the journey and we are continuing, but there were things which we should focus on as turning points, like, for example, the API. What's the API?
Well,
active pharmaceutical ingredient.
Exactly.
Let's just simplify this to the viewer and to know how this issue, and focusing on that, and depending on our raw materials or our research, can be of such a big value or an added value to this segment in specific, sir.
Well, actually, you are driving the conversation into a very specific area, which is very nice. I'll try to simplify to our simple viewers. But when we are trying, as I said, to localize, we have huge brains here in Egypt, and the know-how that people are really spending a lot of money, as you said, in research and development. It's now becoming available into the Egyptian market. If we have the raw material and we have the know-how, then we have the capability.
Put your hands together, then we have the product.
Exactly.
But sir, I want to implement what we have just talked about on Sovaldi, for example, and on this
it was coming from India.
The generic, it came from India. But this huge success of now our local product, and we had this prize or award from the WHO that now Egypt is free from hepatitis C. And this is really something which I think nobody can, nobody have been able to dream for such a long time. In years we were not able to do that. Now the case is totally different. Tell me about this story of success and to what extent it can be implemented or duplicated to treat other chronic diseases.
Well, the key, the key in all these issues are becoming very important issues to discuss and to implement. So, as you just said, we are improving our vaccine system. Vaccines are becoming very important tools in the medical field.
Sure.
And the government is enhancing the local production and the local investments into vaccines. And I think it was said in the Prime Minister report that he gives proper attention to one of these areas which are vaccines that will prevent such diseases from spread. You just said about hepatitis C, and before it was polio, and we were able to eradicate all these from Egypt, which is a great success and a great achievement. So this is a module we have to follow, and when we make a successful module around us, or we have such a success in a module, we can repeat it anywhere else in another area. And this is what we are doing. We have the expertise. We are moving into globalization. So if even a know-how that we do not know, we can get this know-how.
This is it. We had deals with the American, German, Qatari firms. And those are only some examples. How we can attract...
And Saudi Arabians.
And Saudi Arabia. How we can attract more companies from different countries all over the world. And thank God we are really following a very balanced foreign relations with all countries all over the world. So our relations with the West are as big and as great and as huge as the East, so we do not prefer a side to the other. How we can build on that, Dr. Ala?
Well, we can build on that definitely if we draw the attention of the whole world, and this is one of the ideas of this program, is we want to address how important this market is. Nobody really in the Western world, on the Eastern world, would realize how profitable they can make money out of Egypt and out of Africa. We have, just to go through statistics very quickly, well, we have 1.5 billion people or inhabitant into the continent of Africa. It's the second largest continent in sort of population. You are talking about 54 countries in Africa. 55, but actually it's 54. But then again, how many of them they have local manufacturing? How many of them they really need and strive to import medical products and medications and medical devices? The balance actually is, importation is huge into Africa. When you make them an African country with the size and the weight of Egypt, we are making an entry to investors to Africa. And Africa is a continent you thought you knew. So I'm addressing it to investors that Egypt is a gateway.
You know, sir, many experts are saying that what you're saying is an invitation or a call for what they call soft colonialism. We are going once again to bring the foreign forces, or here now the foreign personnel or the foreign manufacturers, to go to Africa and to put their hands on the raw materials and all the wealth of Africa, on all what they do have for their best interest rather than the interest of the African peoples. How we can have this balance to be a win-win situation without having this even term mentioned?
Well, actually, we shouldn't, or we wouldn't mention that term at all. Definitely, it does not exist in business. And then again, when you send to Africa, you will be sending the end-user product. You will not be sending people. You will not be sending experts or foreigners, so that locals might think that they are coming in a sort of reviving a past that has gone and it will never come back. But we will be sending them or exporting to them with the less expensive products with the same quality. You will be providing them with the end user product. You will provide them with a product. You will not provide them with manpower or people that might look different than they are or they think. So it's actually, and it's less expensive to them. Because when it is manufactured in Egypt, you are talking about a drastically less expensive end-user price, and at the same time, more profit to the investor.
But what about the regulatory standards and how this can be considered as an obstacle on the way, because there is a gap between the Egyptian regulatory standards and the targeted markets?
Well, I wouldn't say so, not anymore. This might be the case.
This is exactly what I really want to elaborate and focus on. Tell me about if there is a gap now between the Egyptian regulatory standards and targeted markets. And here, I mean the north side of the Mediterranean.
Well, that's very difficult, but you have answered, or I have previously answered that question, which you are trying to highlight for our viewers to witness as well and to realize. Now, most of the, I wouldn't say all, but let me put that most of the Egyptian standards are based on the CE mark and FDA approval. And these are the most two entities into the medical field that are approving the medical products. So if you have a product that FDA approved or CE approved, that means it is accepted in Europe or accepted in the States. Usually, I'm saying usually, that the Egyptian market does not accept any product which is not CE or FDA approved, and they implement the same measures. So before getting any product approved in Egypt, it passes through a lot of procedures and a lot of documentation and testing, and I must praise the standards that is happening Egyptian Ministry of Health.
So, let me put my question in other words, sir. What are the most important challenges in front of the Egyptian medications to invade the European markets? If there are any.
European markets.
Yes, European markets.
European markets.
Yeah, sir.
Definitely European market is very important, but it's very stacked with pharmaceutical companies and medical devices and medical supplies. If I would think economically, I would go to areas where there are very little manufacturing facilities. Like Africa.
Okay.
As I said. And then again, I can compete in Europe, and my prices will be less expensive. I have...
This is it.
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yes, we can.
Is this applicable?
I said before, Egypt can.
Yeah. And sir, we also are really following what we can call now economic diplomacy. So you can find His Excellency Badr Abdelati, Minister of Foreign Affairs, signing deals and speaking with the business communities in many countries he really visits. And we really had the pleasure, of course, to follow his talks with his Pakistani, for example, counterpart, Iranian counterpart. Those countries whom we did not discover before as huge in this field in specific, medical supplies. How do you see this as new horizons of cooperation and opening new gates in front of the Egyptian pharmaceutical industries segment or sector to deal with other allies or other countries from all over the globe and to build or to start from where they ended?
Well, this is very smart of you. I mean to mention that for sure. But these countries, they started to rise few decades back. They were very successful in achieving the formula of getting the Western technology and adapting it to their countries. And this is what we are trying to do right now. We have been trying, we have been working into this. Now, we would like, this is the way I understand it, we would like the private sector and the private and overseas investors to be involved. It's not only the government. The government can do that, but they are really trying hard to make a sort of equilibrium between the governmental work and the private sector so that people can make money. So we have a golden opportunity now. We have an opportunity in Egypt that has not been there. Because we have a government and we have a president that is thinking
out of the box.
They're thinking out of the box, and they want to make Egypt great again. And Egypt will be great again. And as you can see from our new republic, that we are doing a lot of reforms in that context. So I'm asking all investors, all overseas investors, we have the technology, we have the know-how, and we have ready-made projects. We have ideas and we have feasibility studies, the whole thing, we have it here. It's ready to be implemented. And we can discuss figures. What attracts investors are figures. Now I'll go a little bit out of the medical field, and I will talk economy, because investors, they like numbers.
Sure.
When we talk about money, then it will definitely flag numbers. Now let us have a look into how stationary the US dollar versus Egyptian pound has been going on in the past. Let me put it that way. In the past 6 to 8 months, the Egyptian pound was stable, and let me put it that way, it was a little bit up to 10% gaining against, for example, the US dollar or the euro or the foreign currencies. And all the forecasts that has been expected for the year, for next year, for example, we are expecting a stabilization in the Egyptian currency. And this is very important for any investor, so that he knows that there are no humps or setbacks for the currency exchange. This is something that has been even said in the report of the IMF or the International Monetary Fund that the economy of Egypt is becoming more transparent and more stable. So that gives a lot of assurance in the currency stabilization. Now let's talk about, we call it key economic indicators. What are the key economic indicators for Egypt? Now, if you go back to the balance sheets of 24-25, which ended last July, you will find that the GDP, which is gross domestic product of Egypt, raised by 2.5%, which is a great number according to what is happening and
around us
and in Egypt. Now, a few people, they have said, few humble people or citizens or people that are not really working in economy, they get a little bit annoyed when they say, oh, the debt of Egypt is that much, or how many billions that we are in debt in US dollars. This does not matter. What matters is the percentage. Now, the percentage of the debt into the GDP, which is coming down. Now we have reached a debt of 86% of GDP. So when we look at the graph, if we had a graph here, I would have shown it to our viewers. But if we have a graph now, we will find that the economy or the GDP is going high and the debt is going down in percentage. And this is what we are looking for. It's not the amount of money that we should not be looking at. So if we look at these key economic indicators, and I'm sure that our viewers or investors, their finance director or themselves, they understand that
And you
very
are
well.
going also to have a quick look at the unemployment rate, for example, because this is also another side of the coin about how now Fitch and Moody, S&P are evaluating the Egyptian economy and moving it from good to better. And in amid all what's going on in the whole world, amid the global inflation, amid the pandemic, amid the lockdown, amid the unfortunate conflicts which took place in the Middle East, you name it. But sir, if you permit me, I'd like, because I'm running out of time, of course I had the honor to have you in more than one episode of Money Means Business, and we have been not only talking about medications, or about pharmaceutical industries, but about medical supplies, and you were all the time shedding more light on the importance of medical supplies. Of course, the drug is very important, but what about the package? The injection is very important, but about the syringe? I mean, how this should be taken into consideration as part and parcel of the whole symphony, if I may call it this way. If you please, sir, I'd like to focus a little bit on that.
I'll try to have a few minutes, if we have a couple of minutes regarding this. Well, that's good. That's good. Because you raised a very important issue, how many million that we are selling out of syringes. We have a lot of syringes and syringe manufacturers in Egypt. There are quite a few of them that producing syringes. But then, again, when you buy a syringe, it's not only the plunger or the plastic part which is being produced here, but the needle.
Yep.
Now we import the needle. In the past couple of years, they started to manufacture needles here. Needle is a very fine technology. So we are trying to I'm just saying, there are opportunities for things that the user is there. The end user is there, and the market is there. So what an investor would need more? The market is there, the end user is there, the market demands, and revenue of investment is too high, the risk is too little. So I address again to our investors. I mean, come to Egypt, come to the land of opportunities, come to the fairest country.
Sir, simply the waste. I mean, how we can get rid of a used syringe. We should have a very specific package which can absorb this. I mean, it's a hazardous waste. And some stuff like that can be also even of the same importance, because this means that we are following the hygiene, the state of the art or the latest standards in the hygiene system, and we take into consideration every single detail. It's not haphazardly, it's based on scientific research and rules. Also, if you want to elaborate on that.
Sure. Now, most of the, we do not want to take much time out of the syringe issue, but now it's
only an example.
Okay, yeah. So it's being sold with a destroyer. I mean, there is a specific small device that you put the needle in, and then it will automatically destroy. So no further use of that syringe again. And this, you can get it along with the shipment of the syringes. This is if we are talking specifically about this. But there are a lot of products that we really need to focus on, and there is a ready-made project, a huge project just like the Pharma City or the Medicine City that has been going on in the past decade in here, and it's very successful. We have the similar project for the medical device, and it's called Nile Health. It's there, and it does not include only usage of the medical disposables or medical plastics, but mind you, when you do medical product comprises of medical plastic or PVC, then you still import the medical plastic. We don't have, up until now, for example, and this is also, I'm not disclosing a secret, they started some trials in the past few years to manufacture the medical plastic, because we import the medical.
Inshallah, this is going to be our coming story of success, sir. As usual, I enjoyed our discussion. Thank you very much for your input, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
We were very much delighted to have with us live here in the studio our prominent guest, Dr. Aladin Assal, our medical industries expert. Now, I'm going to leave you with the most important economic events which took place in the past 7 days. Till we meet again, same time on Nile TV International. Many thanks for watching. This was Nurmeen Abdurrahman.
Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli said in a press briefing following the weekly cabinet meeting that Egypt's top priority for 2026 remains decreasing overall and external debt in collaboration with the Central Bank of Egypt as macroeconomic indicators improve and exports and domestic production increase. Madbouli was outlining the state's debt management strategy, which he said will be released soon. He stated that the country aims to reduce its debt to GDP ratio to below 75% within 3 years. This reduction, he noted, will allow the allocation of more funds for health and education, including for projects such as the Universal Health Insurance System, the UHIS, where funding has already exceeded 48 billion Egyptian pound, and the Decent Life Rural Development Program. Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation, Rani Al-Mashat, and Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade, Hassan Al-Khatib, have met with officials from the World Bank to review Egypt's national strategy for foreign direct investment and the national narrative for economic development, which aims to shift Egypt's economic model toward production and higher value-added sectors. The World Bank officials reviewed the final draft of their national strategy for foreign direct investment, outlining priority sectors, implementation mechanisms, and global trends in foreign investments. Minister Al-Mashat said the strategy supports Egypt's efforts to diversify growth sources, move to more productive sectors, and improve governance of public investments, while creating more space for the private sector. Minister of Agriculture and Land Reclamation, Ala Farouk, met with Jean-Pierre Demarjore, the resident representative and country director of the United Nations World Food Programme, the WFP, in Egypt, to discuss strengthening joint cooperation and following up on projects being implemented in cooperation between the two sides. During the meeting, the two sides discussed renewing the Luxor Coordination Center agreement to promote resilience, innovation and knowledge dissemination in Upper Egypt, which was established in partnership between the two sides within the framework of achieving sustainable development, disseminating knowledge and training small farmers in Upper Egypt and African cadres working in the agricultural sector, confirming Egypt's role in the development of African countries under the umbrella of South-South cooperation. According to the Ministry of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, Egypt exported a new liquefied natural gas LNG shipment from the IDKU liquefaction plant to Turkey aboard the LNG Harmony carrier, transporting approximately 150,000 cubic meters of LNG for Shell Global. LNG exports support the ministry's strategy to encourage foreign partners to inject additional investments needed to increase domestic natural gas production and to boost Egypt's role as a regional hub for energy trade. Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation Rania Al-Mashat and UNDP resident representative in Egypt, Chitos Nugache, signed a memorandum of understanding to strengthen institutional capacity in areas supporting inclusive and sustainable economic development. The agreement aims to deepen cooperation on evidence-based policy-making, public-private partnerships, human capital investment, and improving living standards in vulnerable areas. It also targets economic empowerment for women and youth, and better design and execution of development projects.